All right, gamers, it's hunter build time, and boy oh boy, when you just think this hunter melee build couldn't get any better, Bungie just goes ahead and gives us all these new weapons. So this whole melee build is pretty much going to be based off of the grapple being able to scale with everything in the game. So being able to stack your grenade stat as high as possible, and then being able to make it work with 1-2 punch or bastion or navigator kind of just takes this build to a whole nother level. So this is going to be a lot for me to talk about, but I just want to go over the main stuff right in the beginning for you, just to let you know that with the new Arms Week hand cannon coming out today, I did want to show you something here that I noticed. It feels like 1-2 punch on this hand cannon does less than a shotgun. I don't know the numbers. Hopefully the numbers guys can break this down, but as you see here, I proc 1-2 punch and then I melee, and I'm getting a lower number than I would with the shotgun. When I shotgun something and I meleeed, I got a higher number. But again, I still think this hand cannon is really good for the build because I really like using bastion more anyway, because with Saint's Fists, you still get a 3-second melee buff just like you do with 1-2 punch, but it's nearly double the damage you get. And plus, Bastion does pretty good damage anyway, and it has intrinsic unstop. So using this for the build is definitely the play. Now, if you wanted to get it fun into the grapple tech, I would recommend you use the navigator and set your grapple point in the air and just keep grappling it over and nuke the bosses. The main thing that you want to focus on this build with is the prismatic setup. I think GsxrClyde does better than Deadfall. I did use both, so if you want to switch between those two subclasses, you can, but it really plays into the build when we go over the artifact. So I want to break down the abilities first. You're going to be using grapple with combination blow because they stack. Obviously, gambler's dodge. Your aspects are going to be Stylus Executioner, and Glide. Why are we choosing Winter's Shroud? Well, the reason why is freezing enemies is going to proc more damage, and the shatter damage is insane. I know people love a sanction, but if you do want to run a sanction, you can, but being able to use Winter's Shroud and get that freeze damage and proc courage on every single punch is definitely huge, and it also works with your grapple. I did want to point out that I'd use Ruin now. I was testing out balance, didn't really like it. I tried bravery here, I tried dawn here, I tried blessing. Use this last slot here to use whatever you like, but having ruin and being able to get that more shatter damage is nice. Courage is going to play into your freeze. Protection is on all melee builds, and purpose is going to give us woven mail or an overshield from Deadfall. The reason why this stuff is so important, especially with the hand cannon, fever and chill. Rapid precision hits with solar weapon grant radiant. So using that new 1-2 punch hand cannon is going to give you radiant, but also give you the 1-2 punch combo, and this thing actually hits like a truck. I was slaying ads with it. It actually hits really good, and Bungie did a really good job making this weapon. But another reason why it's so important is every time you punch something with the hunter melee, you will have radiant or amplified because you have the solar hand cannon on, and that's going to give your grenade recharge rate faster and deal increased damage, so your grapple punches will do more. Then if you look at the top of shield crush, while you have woven mail, frost armor, or void overshield, which you will have, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. So you're going to get grapple damage, melee damage. Tangled web definitely procs when you get a grapple melee kill, and it will suspend combatants with that kill. I've suspended champions with this, like going after one-shotting a champion, but there's ads around it. So when you get that kill with the melee, you are going to suspend the targets. I would definitely play into this. Another reason why I like using the GsxrClyde super is while you have woven mail, you gain increased class ability and grenade stats. I think the math on this is 20 grenade stat. So if you have like 180 grenade stat and you have tightly woven procced, you're going to have 200 max stat damage. Refresh threads is nice if you pick up your tangle because it's going to grant energy to your least charged ability, and hopefully that plays into your grenade. And elemental coalescence is going to give you a chance to create an elemental pickup matching your equipped super element. So all these artifact mods really play into the build and work with the subclass. Like I said, if you didn't want to use this hand cannon, you can always play into a 1-2 punch shotgun. There's also the Crota shotgun as well with 1-2 punch, but I'm telling you, use Bastion. The Saint's Fist is crazy damage. Going into the class item, you're going to want to run in most light Synthocept, simply because Synthocept is just going to be stacking your damage. If you wanted to run Sarachne because you always want woven mail and you wanted to run the void subclass, you could try that as well. It is a good setup, but I feel like the Synthocept is a lot better. I always run double hands-on my helmet just so I can get more super energy, and then unfortunately I can't put another mod on, so I just put Powerful Friends. so I can help out my teammates. Playing into the gauntlets, we're going double heavy-handed and another grenade font just so we can get more damage because I don't have the armor to get that 200 stat. Chest piece, resist mods, duh. Boots, kind of important. Better already. Every time you punch and you make an orb, you're going to get your health. Absolution is going to reduce all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an orb, mainly just playing into your grenade. And then orbs of restoration. This is nice because if you pick up an orb, it grants a small amount of energy to the ability of your least energy. You don't need to run this, but I did feel like I was getting my grenade back constantly. Like I'm talking 8 to 9 seconds with this procking. If you wanted to use like a scav mod here for your weapons because ammo is tight sometimes, you could do that as well, or a surge bomber to get your grenade back, time dilation so that your fonts last longer, and powerful attraction to scoop up the orb. Going over your stat distribution here, like I said, you want to get your grenade as high as you possibly can. So if I have the grenade font on my gauntlets and I have the tightly woven proc, this should put me around a 190 grenade, which is really good damage. I do have my melee stat at 90 because this hand cannon has a proximity power mod. When targets are nearby, final blows grant an improvement amount of bonus melee stat. If you get this to ×3, it's 18 ×3, which is going to give you 54 stat to your melee. So if you look at the build, this would put me at 144 melee and 190 grenade, which is really good and almost impossible to get without perks like this on a weapon. So again, totally up to you. Some people think that you need 70 class to get back your hunter dodge after a punch, the way it works with gambler's dodge, but I've been testing the waters. It seems like 65 will do it, but obviously these stats put me at 67, and I feel like we could get our weapon stat higher. So if you do have the gear, try and jack up your weapon stat to at least 100 so that you're not ammo starving all the time. But again, this build will get better with better tiered loot. I do want to point out that I just got this while I was farming. I got a tier 4 pair of boots with a max stat of 75, and I got 25 grenade, 20 super, 30 weapons. Once we get that tier 4 and tier 5 loot, this build will absolutely get better. So the whole loop of this build is pretty much like you guessed: dodge punch, dodge punch, dodge punch. Make sure that you always have combination blow ×3, and by the time you ramp that up with everything I explained here with the artifact and your setup, you're always going to have a grapple. So go ahead and hit your bastion, rock that Saint's Fist, grapple, punch, call it a day. Everything is going to die. I was running Grandmaster content, running Starcrossed, was nuking the wyverns, the shatter damage. The shatter damage is insane. If you freeze a target, do not shoot and proc 1-2 punch. Just go for the grapple melee, because shatter damage has always been busted in Destiny 2. So you can just set up that huge damage and stun everything, and you'll kind of see how it comes together. Survivability is pretty easy with this. Like I said, if you run Silk Strike, you're always going to have Woven Mail up, and the super's great. Now you're probably like, well, Clyde, what if I wasn't doing power leveling and you're using this in like a raid setting? Again, it's very niche for like a raid setup. I feel like this build is only going to shine when you're constantly, doing the portal, trying to level up your gear, and pretty much just trying to have fun. You could definitely ramp this build up in a raid encounter and get your combination blow to ×3, set a grapple point with a navigator, and just go to town. We've seen it done. A variant of this build, one-shot Atheon. Again, remember, in these builds, I'm pretty much just uploading a video telling you guys what I've been using. If you see some stuff you don't like, switch it up, play however you like. But man, 1-2 punch hunter has always been a fan favorite and one of my favorites, and it seems like the build just keeps getting better. And also huge damage. Love seeing the chunk, and it's fun to fly around in your grapple. Hopefully you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, share, and sub. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.